Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
All right, welcome in, folks. As you see, a change of scenery is here.
Yes, it is.
Got Kenny here with me. Trey not able to make it.
Tell us why. It's a big deal. Tell us why.
It is a big deal. Trey and his wife Natalie have welcomed in their firstborn son, their second child. So
I've heard rumors that Trey has named him. His middle names are Penny, Tomb of Doom.
Yeah,
is that true?
Yeah, it took some surreal pull there because his wife is actually a rebel. So yeah, it was a tough one. He had to really pull that one out. So
yeah,
he was able to get it though. So we're good.
Well, so. TJ, I've been stuck inside for like the last few days, obviously with snow, like everybody else in Memphis. So I don't have a beer to drink, but you got one.
I do.
What are you drinking on?
This is called. Let me see if I can give you this. It's called Orange Sweet by Ghost River. It is a blood orange wheat ale.
Is it really orangey? Does it really have orange in it?
It's blood orange, so it's kind of like a fake orange. No, they're not fake. That's obviously.
Is that a real orange? What is a blood orange? Let me look this up. What's a blood orange?
It's an orange, but it's like super red inside versus being orange. This thing, I'm going to be honest with you, has probably been sitting in my fridge for over a year now. I want to say I got this in a 6-pack last year for actually beating Trey in the football superlatives. So,
yeah. So you did send us a text this week where you had stacked up on some more beer.
Yes.
Where do you go? Where'd you go to get it?
I go to Yorkshire Liquors. It's actually in East Memphis, right off Quince. That is the best place to go. This is not an endorsement, but if they want to throw an ad in here, I'm not going to say no.
It could be Yorkshire. If y'all are listening and y'all want to sponsor the beer drinking, the beer reviews, come on. We're ready.
Yeah, they have. If you're anything person, really, they have everything. Their wine selection probably not that great, but their single beer selection, hands down, untouchable. Like no place in the city can compete. It's wild.
We had a discussion about possibly doing some bourbon reviews, all that kind of stuff, and you were kind of like,
man, it's just not my thing. Yeah, I think driving from East Memphis to the studio after having a couple bourbons, like I don't know how that'll work out.
You might have to start getting a sponsorship with Uber and get you a ride home every single night.
Trey's not that far from the studio. I got about a 20-minute drive. So
I ain't trying to set you up for some failure, man. You got
a Dewey.
You got a wife and 2 babies and a career, man. We ain't trying to ruin your life.
Yeah, I don't want a Dewey for freaking crushing a couple bourbons while I'm there,
No, I feel you, man.
We've messed around enough. Let's get started on the good stuff. Kenny.
Yeah, man.
We win on the road.
Yep.
In a game where it felt like it was our first game in all season, honestly, that didn't come down to a game-winning basket.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that.
It was an interesting game, honestly, right? We can pull up the box score and kind of go through it real quickly.
What's funny about it?
By line, of course.
What's funny about it, TJ, is like a lot of times in basketball, you can do a kind of a post-mortem of a game and say, this is, and kind of look at the box score and say, this doesn't tell the whole story as to why this team won. There's always intangibles and things like that happen in a game. This is one of the few games I think you look at the box score and you go, that's why we won.
Well, yeah, you're going to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, we can go into it a little more in depth, but finally a game where the Tigers' threes are falling. I think that's been the biggest thing all year. It's just like the team coming out flat from 3. And then this game, it just felt like you honestly couldn't miss. And that was a couple of people, right? Jaquan on fire.
Man.
Tomlin hitting them. I mean, it felt like everybody was contributing from beyond the arc. So it was pretty impressive. Shooting night, they finished 19 of 30. That is 63%, which
That is
is,
utterly ridiculous.
I'd be curious to know, like, statistically all time. Well, maybe not all time, but in the last 30 years, is that the highest 3-point percentage the team has finished with?
I mean,
63? That's
yeah,
absurd.
before. I mean, when is the? I mean, yeah, like 63 is unheard of, like unheard of. So yeah, I would suspect. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I would suspect that there's not been a better shooting performance in a Tiger game, and I mean,
Sure.
ever maybe. I don't know.
That Rob Sally game where Robert Sally hit the 6 threes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'd
I
kind of
mean, you
forgotten about
had
that game, honestly.
Jourdain, 2
Right.
of 3. Jaquan, 6 of 8.
Oh my!
Who do I see?
How did he get in here? What? I
Coming to
thought
you
you.
live from the studio at Germantown Methodist Hospital, baby.
I thought you were giving birth right now.
No,
Wow.
we got that over with.
I don't know if Trey's the one that gives the birth.
That's a good point.
Hey, I played a big part in it.
What is your technique helping out in there? What's your technique? Speaking of, congratulations, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're gonna get peed on. Go ahead and prep
Couldn't
for
be-
that. You're gonna get peed on.
Hey, the man started spraying no less than 15 seconds into this world, just everywhere. I know nothing about that. I'm hashtag girl dad until yesterday.
Yeah.
So got my first taste of that immediately, right out the gate.
Out the gate.
Yeah. Right out the gate.
So what is your technique inside the delivery room? Are you a hand holder? Are you a stand in the corner? Are you
so with our first, I was a hand holder, like kind of up around the head area, right?
Yeah.
Like just, hey, you got this. She's pushing and squeezing my hand, my hand hurt after that one, but she also we were in there for about an hour on that first one. We pushed for an hour.
Did you ice your hand after?
No, I couldn't show that I was in any sort of pain. That would have been, I would have been sentenced to the couch for a year or more. This go around, I didn't have a whole lot of time to have any sort of technique because it took all of like 6 minutes maybe. So
She got in and got out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we got in about 2 a.m. and we're still not out. So,
well, in terms of the delivery, you got in and got out.
Yeah.
She said, and it was done.
He was ready. So both times I've had myself convinced that we were making it to the like her due date or scheduled time to go to the hospital, and both times we have gone into spontaneous labor. So I don't know when if we plan to have another, I don't know if I'm going to convince myself again that we'll make it to the due date or what. I don't know when I'll learn my lesson, but both times it's happened about 11 o'clock at night after we've finished hanging out and watching like our Netflix show. And both times the night of labor has been the worst night of sleep.
The night of what?
The night that she goes into labor has been the worst night of sleep we've gotten like through any childhood, anything before the baby's even here.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, here's my setup. I don't know. I got the best night of sleep of my life on that thing there last night.
He's lying. Ain't no way.
No, 100%. I'm taking that thing home with me. You guys should see how small that thing folds up. I'm about to walk out the door with it.
I know you're still in the hospital and Natalie's probably right there with you, so we don't want to keep you here for too long before she starts throwing shit at you. But we were talking about the Tigers a little bit, about the Wichita State game. Quick thoughts. Did you get to see it at all?
I had it on. We had some visitors in the room. Little sister came in to meet her, or big sister came in to meet her little brother. So I didn't get to watch it like I would typically watch a game, but I saw a lot of it. I saw enough to know that it was a special day for William to be born into this world, setting school records
the day William was born.
Threes. as far as he knows, we're the number one team in the nation, and we've never lost a collegiate basketball game in his lifetime. So that's all that really matters.
He made tip. I think that was a conversation we were having beforehand. Would William make tip?
And easily.
We
I mean, we had time to tailgate before tip.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we were settled in. He got here at 8:45.
So he's a Tiger fan already. I mean, he's involved. He knows the system. He knows.
I mean,
with
how well that game went, yeah. I mean, he's in it for life, which, for better or worse, I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily. I've talked about this with a couple buddies. Like, do we really want to sign our children up for the misery of being a Tiger fan? Or should we just let them kind of choose on their own?
That's a good point.
But I think they're going to be locked in.
Yeah. How was how's Natalie doing? How's wifey doing?
Everybody's doing very well. Healthy, good to go. So I think we'll be rolling out tomorrow morning to get back home and
nice.
Traipsing in the snow.
Yeah, snow pocket, all sorts of stuff. School records. We're gonna get to tell him he was born during the blizzard of 24.
Right.
It's just all kinds of cool stuff happening.
Hey, before you get out of here, we have one question. I have one question to ask you. There's rumors floating around Twitter and just the birdies are out there talking. Is his middle name Penny Tomb of Doom? Is that what?
Yes, that is. That was signed on the birth certificate about 6 hours ago. So,
yeah. How did Natalie handle that? I just found out she's an Ole Miss fan.
I think she's finding out as we speak.
Oh no!
So,
oh no!
But hey, they gave it to me to sign, so she didn't look it over before I signed it. So
there you go. Listen,
she'll find out when the Social Security card comes in the mail.
Hey, listen,
She's
man.
Like, what are y'all talking about?
Exactly. She has no time for any.
Just nod. It's fine. Just nod.
Yeah.
So, no, that game was great. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks, right? Like, metrics matter. I know you guys hate them, but that game in and of itself, it shows you win by what, 24, 25? What was it? And we jumped like 11 spots in the net immediately. But joking aside from metrics matter, like that's what we've been asking for the last month, is to beat a team like that. And they showed that they're capable of doing it. Even on a night where they didn't play. I think that's the most impressive and crazy part, is like they still did not play well defensively.
Oh my God, no.
And Wichita State was shooting lights out. I mean, obviously we shot better. We shot literally lights out. But they were making some ridiculous reverse layup, like all sorts of horse kind of shots, like, and to still go out there and beat them by 20 plus, score 112. We hadn't done that in like 50 years, 60, 70
it's been
years.
A while.
I mean, that's insane.
50, yeah.
Back-to-back games over 100. 107, 112. I mean,
yeah.
Imagine if they had played even half of what a Penny defensive team normally is. That's like a 112-60 game.
That's a tough one. I think you're right. Like defensively, they just are we.
It's the same thing too. Like he mentioned it last week. He said, I've gone back, I've watched, and I know what it is now. It's the help defense. Like we're not communicating, we're over rotating, we're not getting back on shooters. And then he said, we're not doing it anymore. And nothing changed. They literally looked the exact same, especially in that first half. Like maybe they logged down a little bit better in the second half and were able to get away, but they still came out and were doubling. They were late rotating over. They were leaving guys open with threes. It doesn't look like they're talking, right? Like they're taking risks defensively at times and it's not paying off. So I don't know. It was kind of disappointing after he said that last week, after the UTSA game, and then to come out Sunday and it didn't look like anything different.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I saw after kind of rewatching the game is just that initial double team at the top of the key that drives me crazy. Like you don't double team at the top of the key. That's just not where you double team. Like, because they have the full court there to pass the ball, like to get through that. And we have talked a lot, even on the show, about Malcolm and his ability to switch off onto guard in space, switch off onto the point. And I think he's doing it too much. I think it's getting him in. I think it's getting the whole team in trouble at this point.
We hyped it up too much.
We hyped it up. I blame you for that, honestly.
Well,
but not
at one point it looked good.
Well, when you're getting them on the base, or when you're getting them, to the sideline, and you're doubling at the edges and not at the top of the key. I mean, you're right, because it's just creating too much space for players to have to either help going towards the basket or the pass off going to the wing. Are we?
I think we've seen that.
Go ahead, TJ. Sorry.
No, you're good. I said I think we've seen that in probably 5 or 6 games at least this year, where the whole game they're over helping, and it just leaves a guy wide open.
Which I can't
remember what game it.
I mean, he went back and was like, it's just you versus your man, and if you get beat, you get beat. And it didn't look like they took that approach on Sunday. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see how that changes going forward. But
the whole guard perspective, right?
Yeah. Like
you guard your man.
One.
You guard your man. Yeah.
So
I think it was Austin P. I think was the game that stood out to me, where we were just consistently over helping, and you just leave a guy wide open. Vandy too, honestly, because Vandy was crushing threes left and right because of it, and it was just so infuriating. And it's still, let's be honest, it's still annoying because you're still seeing it happen. We're 15 games in? Is that the number?
Yep. No, 16. This is the
16 games in.
Nope, 17.
17. We're 15 and 2. Guys.
15 and 2. Yeah. So it's just annoying. Right? I think you're 17 games in. You got to be able to figure out some of these little things that you've been doing.
In Williams' world, we're only 1 game in.
That's right.
You didn't know anything about those other 16.
So where do you guys rank this? Where do you guys rank this defensive team for Penn in the 6 years that Penny's been here? Are they the worst?
It's up there with his first team.
Yeah.
Which does that really count? Because he was
doesn't really count.
In what he was able to do.
It's all Tubby's kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he went out and got Lomax and Tyler and some guys late, but those aren't.
Yeah, I don't know. Adding 2 5'9" point guards is helping you defensively.
Excluding his first team, which I'm not even going to really put on him, it's by far his worst team defensively, which is strange, right? Because that's his whole identity, and that's what he's preached the whole time he's been here, and the culture he's tried to build around is defense travels, and we're going to be a defensive-minded team and play scrappy, hard defense every game.
It's what happens when you go
the exact opposite of that.
It's what happens when you go get a bunch of dudes who have been the leading scorers on their teams. I mean, let's be real. I mean, and he recognizes that. He said it, right? He's like, every guy on this team is so offensive-minded. That's what they're thinking about, is scoring the next play, not necessarily getting a stop. It's just, let's get the ball back and go score again.
Yeah.
So it just does not. It doesn't bode well. Let's be real. Tigers and we're going to talk about the rankings in a highest rank they've been in a couple of years now. You know what I mean?
I'll get off before you guys do that.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk to you with me. I thought we were going to get away with 1 week without you on talking about rankings. But one of the things that you said just a few minutes ago, defense travels, right? And you want to be able to say they don't need to shoot 63% from the 3-point line to blow a team out,
right? To win that way, you don't have to hit 19 threes.
Everybody
capable
goes
of beating
off.
Somebody like that, scoring in the 60s.
Yeah,
where they should be.
Yeah,
but
maybe they should.
Maybe Jordan Brown coming back will change everything defensively. And with
chill, bro.
I'm out. I will see you guys next week. Hey, I'm all about JB.
What a
grenade! Back as a grad assistant.
Oh, it's a grad. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's a grad assistant. Yeah,
that's no official news. I'm just messing around, but that's wild. The rumors that are out there. I don't know if you guys talked about that yet, but
we haven't talked about it yet. We're not.
I mean, we debated on even talking about it. Honestly,
well,
I mean,
we're definitely going to talk about it, but because I got some real opinions about it. Real opinions.
It's wild. If I was a player on that team,
absolutely hell no.
I'd be getting pissed.
You can come back and be a GA and rebound at practice and hand towels and water and be a rah-rah
they
guy.
They just lost their equipment manager to the Detroit Tigers. They can
sign him up.
Equipment manager
to the Detroit Tiger, like baseball MLB team. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Get paid, man. Go for it.
What a step up. That's tight. All
right, man.
With that, I'm going to get little man fed to bed. I will see you on next week. Kenny, thanks for stepping in.
Congrats, bro.
Come back with a cold beer stay for the rest of the hot takes that Kenny and TJ have.
Wait a second. He just ruined
this guy, dude. He comes in here, he drops that Jordan Brown grenade.
God,
and then just vamps out. Are you kidding me?
Ain't nobody trying to hear all that. This man's feeling himself, man. I'm happy for him though. I know he's about to you've experienced this a lot sooner since I have. Sooner's not the right word, but recently than I have. This whole time period in life is about to be a wreck, right? Like
it's
a newborn change. A newborn is no joke.
It's not even just a newborn. It's man defense now. Like you are splitting up.
Yeah.
She is sticking with one, you're sticking with the other. Yeah. It's a whole change in your process, right? So
well, speaking of man defense, let's talk about defense some more.
Yeah, I guess we jump back to basketball real quickly now. I mean, it is what it is, right? I think we've already kind of touched on it. It seems like the defensive teams of yesteryear are kind of out the window, right? I think this team just wants to run, get their pace going, make the other teams play at their pace, and then forcing that pace in itself is kind of a defense in a way, right? So I think that's kind of what they're doing here. Just try to score, push, and then rely heavily on that pace. And, it's obviously still being energetic, right? Kind of bouncing around on defense, kind of jumping some passing lanes.
Yeah.
For the love of God, please stop with the help defense. It's getting real old, man. So old because it happens every game.
Yeah.
But,
No, it is crazy. Like you would think that, Penny being in the transfer portal and doing his thing in there, obviously his first commit this year was Nick Jourdain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nick has been to me, and if I'm wrong on this, tell me, but he's been a revelation, I think, for the Tigers. I think he's been one of the more consistent players for them this year, and on both sides of the ball, right? Like he's the top 3 most efficient player in college basketball on the offensive side. And yet on the defensive side, you see him doing a lot of work. You see him cleaning up a lot of mistakes out there. And it is kind of what happens though, when you bring in a group of guys like, I know Javon Quinterly takes pride in his defense, but it's hard to go 100% on both sides of the ball, right?
The whole game.
And you look at a guy like Jaquan Walton, and you look at a guy like Malcolm. Malcolm has the potential to be an incredible rim protector, I think, but he gambles a lot, man. Like he gambles so much. And so there's just not a lot of there just seems to be on this team a level of immaturity, I think, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, just kind of like not really being as locked in on that side of the ball as they should be. And I think it could potentially come back and hurt them later on down the line. You know what I'm saying? Like as they start to play some better teams.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Jourdain, because I think when he committed, a lot of people were like, who's this bum that they just brought in? Like Temple was awful. Like Battle was good, and outside of Battle, everybody is trash.
Well, do you not remember? You not remember when they brought him in? Everybody was like, "Well, that's because they're about to go get Khalif Battle, right?" Like, they thought Nick Jourdain and Khalif Battle were like a package deal,
just some random ass package deal,
right?
Yeah. And I think with Jourdain, and this is probably on us as people that watch the team and everyone listening, like people that watch the team, we're like, okay, well, Jourdain's just a guy, right? He's just gonna be a guy, just a body on that roster because that they were down a couple of men, right? They needed to fill
Right.
some spots, and then he's come in and kind of like you said, a revelation in a sense, right? Like he does a lot of things,
A lot.
and I'm curious if that is perhaps because we didn't have these wild expectations for him, right? Like they just kind of thought he was going to be a guy, right? I mean, you heard me say it. I'm sure we've all said it. We just thought he was going to be a guy. Didn't know if he was even going to play. And now he comes in. I mean, what did he put up? 30 minutes the other day.
Yeah.
That's not a guy. You don't just play a guy 30 minutes. So it's funny how he's found his little niche.
Well, even at the beginning of the year, it was Jaquan Walton starting at the 4. Remember, Jaquan was starting at the 4, and Malcolm, or no, was it Jourdain or Malcolm? Malcolm started at the 5. Malcolm. And they had Caleb starting at the 3. So obviously injuries and just production and things like that. Caleb decided at the Ole Miss game that he wanted to come off the bench, and Penny, let that happen.
Sure.
But inserting Jourdain into the starting lineup, let's not forget the day that he did that, Tigers haven't lost since then. And it's because he does things that are not flashy, but he does things that win. He does things that help a team win. And not saying that he's the reason why they're winning, but it's just I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think that you bring in a guy like Jourdain off the bench who's a producer on multiple levels, fills the stat sheet up. They haven't lost. They haven't lost since they put him in.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I mean, I guess that's true. Just thinking back on the schedule, right? I mean, you said Ole Miss. No, that was when Ole Miss was when Caleb went to the bench, right?
Yep. So Ole Miss was I guess Jourdain started that game and they lost, but
yeah. You see, you liar. These stats, unbelievable.
Listen,
no, I'm with you.
Don't pay attention to me on stats.
I'll take it. What's a 10-1 run? Okay,
yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take a 10-1 run any day of the week.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that also David Jones is, killing it right now. Man, what did you think about his second half? All
right, so the first half alone, it looked like they were kind of playing keep away from him in a sense. Like it literally looked like the game plan was let David be a decoy of some sort and just let Jaquan and Quinterly just cook, right? It didn't even seem like David Jones was touching the ball. And then they came out that second half and Penny was like, hit the damn gas. And every shot, it was like, all right, that's it. That's going in. Like I was listening to Mark and Francis on the post-game show, and Francis was referencing NBA Jam, like he's heating up, and like that's legit, like he's on fire, like all that was spot on, because it honestly seemed like every time David touched the ball, it's just like, all right, well, that's a bucket. It's going to be a bucket. I mean, he hasn't even shot. He could pass it, but it's going to be a bucket no matter what happened. If he was passing it, if he was shooting it, anything, it seemed like it was coming back with some points attached.
No, absolutely. I mean, it definitely felt like that Penny went into the first half. It felt like there was two things that Penny went into that half with the game plan of. Number one, that was getting Jaquan some shots up because of the history and because of, I think he was ready to go. He said it even after the in the post game. He said like 2 days before, the day before, and the morning of, Jaquan shooting shots, didn't miss a single one. And so he was like, I could kind of tell he was going to be on a heater, that game. So they wanted to get him some shots. Obviously him coming out and getting booed and all that kind of stuff, even though he has been nothing but, I think, gracious about his time at Wichita State. Sure. Right. Like, I think they wanted to get him off, right? They wanted him to get off and get some points up, get some buckets and stuff like that. And then I think the second part of it is, I think they wanted to reinsert Javon Quinterly's dominance with the ball. Like, you are the guy. that handles the ball on offense, right? Like you are the guy that leads this offense. And tell me it didn't get to the point where it was just like Javon is just whenever he has the ball in his hands, the right play is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a couple of times where he has this little bit of a stutter step, and defenders just they think he's shooting it. So they pop up to defend and he's gone. Just right past him. It gets right to the 10. It's right to the cup, man. It's ridiculous. And it seems like it's automatic, honestly.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. This is if the game plan was to let JQ cook in the first half and then just release David Jones the second half, and whatever Jaquan does is just a sweetener, then like what a wild game plan that was.
Yeah.
There's no way you draw it up that way, right? But that sure is how what it seemed like.
I mean, maybe it wasn't like the explicit game plan of Penny Hardaway. Like he has this written down on the whiteboard in the locker room. let Javon cook. JQ cook. Number 2, Jaquan, get off. Number 3, let David Jones go.
Yeah, I mean, and somehow just sprinkle in Nick Jourdain.
Yeah, right.
And who else? Tomlin going crazy from 3 as well. So
right.
It was honestly, that was probably the best game I think we'll see the Tigers play all year. Hopefully not.
Let's hope not.
I mean, if you could just repeat that every game, right? I think we'll be all right in the grand scheme of things, right? But
maybe the best game offensively, but again, like
Trey, sorry, like purely offensively is what I'm referencing.
When Trey came in and blew the show up, defensively it was a struggle all the way through and through. 86 points against
dude.
86 points from that Wichita State team. 86 points against this Tiger team is terrible. Like you can't give up 86 points, TJ. You just can't.
Well, and it felt like it was just to Rodgers. And then the other guy, I can't remember the other guy's name. It didn't feel like he was missing very often either. But I mean, Rodgers was cooking, right? Obviously, the game plan's kind of somewhat to slow him down, and no one was able to. The whole game, it seemed like he was able to either get to the rim or just have a free open 3. So
it was that Beverly kid, the one who transferred in. Yeah, who transferred in from somewhere. I forgot where he transferred in from. Is Harlon Beverly. That was the part that I think made me so mad, TJ, is that it wasn't like, yes, they were hitting 3-pointers. And like you, at one point you look at this TV screen and it's like at the very beginning of the game and people are like, they pan over to the crowd and you see this one Wichita State student and he's going, they're all freaking out. And he turns to somebody next to him and he goes, this isn't normal. Like, this isn't normal. The 3-pointers are whatever, right? Like giving up 3-pointers. I didn't even feel like, honestly, in a lot of ways, the Tigers didn't defend the 3-point line well. Like they just hit a lot of open shots, a lot of really, kind of Fred VanVleet type fade to the left and just whip it up there and then just went in. But it was the open lanes to the basket that just were like
just nonstop, right?
Just super disgusting to me.
Yeah. And I
didn't like it.
I kind of thought we wouldn't see much of that, right? Because I think we typically get some Malcolm playing like drop coverage and stuff like that when he's in. So, the rim is decently protected, right? For the most part. It's giving up the wide open 3s that has kind of hurt us in some games. But this game, it honestly felt like it was just open basket, right? There was no one playing center. You're playing 4-on-5, and that's what it felt like. I don't know if anybody else watched it and kind of felt the same way, but it just felt like clear lane pretty much on every possession. And I don't know what it is exactly. And because it's the easiest bucket ever, right? At least make them step back, take a deep 2. I'll take a mid-range. Let them force them to take a mid-range, something like that. But don't get them 2 feet away from the basket just to lay it in.
College basketball, the way the college basketball rules are set up, it should never be easy just to get to the open lane to the basket. You can plant a big dude at the front of the rim and just guard the rim the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to just stand up there. Like that's what Jamarian Sharp does for Ole Miss. Like he doesn't. You think that man moves out
He
of that
can't even
lane?
move.
He can't even
Yeah.
move. He just stands at the rim and blocks shit. Like
Yeah.
So it was the wide open lanes to the basket that I think were really, and I can tell you this, man, like Penny ain't happy with what he saw. Like you could see it in his face in the post game. He was like, hey man, they shot the ball well. Thankfully, finally,
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be my best shooting team I've ever had. And they just haven't done it. They haven't made the shots. They did today. So good job. But defensively, he is not thrilled with where things are.
Well, sure. Because you'd be thinking about it from an instance where, let's say the Tigers have just a normal shooting night from 3, right? Let's drop it from 63, cut that in half. I mean, at 33% from a team, I mean, that's probably a decent night from the Tigers from 3, honestly. I mean, they're obviously probably still going to win, but like it's cutting it close, right? It's coming down to a final possession or two. So I get not being satisfied, right? You blew them out, and finally the number nerds, Trey, metrics matters. He's they're happy, right? You finally got your 20-point win. You are it was 20 plus, right? Yeah,
right.
20 plus. It was 86, 112.86. Is that right?
112.86. Yep.
Yeah. So just making sure I'm not making up numbers in my head. So you finally got your net bonus points, right? Whatever. So I get Penny not being satisfied, right? You can't rely on those shots falling every night. So you got to be able to defend. You got to clean up some stuff. It was good to see not that many turnovers, only 10. If the Tigers can only turn it over 10 times a game, I think we're going to be A-okay.
Dude,
10 is like a good number for us.
Especially
at that pace.
I mean, come on, man. Like, look at Javon Quinterly's. Look at his. Let me find this box score real quick. I mean, look at his numbers from it. 11 assists with 1 turnover, bro. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was Naquan leading the team with 3, and one of those should have just been a turnover. That goofy ass 3 kind of late into the game. I don't even know if it was 3 or late 2, but he just got the ball with like seconds left and was like, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And just hurled it up there. But
well, listen, man, like they got a game on Thursday coming back home against South Florida.
Yep.
But then they hit the road for 2 straight. And it could be some trap games, bro.
Definitely.
Like Tulane and UAB. Like, let's not forget UAB, while they're not the same team as they were last year, played FAU in the CUSA championship last year. They're not a bad team, right? Tulane, we know about Tulane. Beat the Tigers twice last year. So what are your thoughts, man? Like, does that game against Wichita State provide you with any more like, okay, on the road against these two, or do you see these as a trap game or possible losses?
I don't necessarily like the phrase trap game in the sense, right? I mean, you've got to beat these guys that are in front of you, right? If the Tigers want to get where if they want to get to their final end goal, you're going to have to beat these teams, right? I mean, they're respectable, right? I don't think I keep saying Jelly. What's his name? The UAB guard that they had last year. Was his name Jelly? Am I making that up?
Yeah, no, it was Jelly.
Whatever. That guy's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. But they got Eric Gaines.
They're trying to find their way with Gaines and some other people there and trying to figure it out. They're a good team. I think if you look at it, the Tigers should roll them. I can understand they beat FAU, but FAU is not the FAU of last year. They are not this an overinflated team. They are this overinflated team that everyone had these high hopes for.
Including yourself.
Yeah, of course. I will definitely say that. I thought that they were going to be much better. They have 2 senior guards that are just not playing very well at all.
Can I remind you of a conversation we had on Tigers Untapped many moons ago?
What was that?
Where you were talking about FAU being the next Houston and I said that by the time conference play hits, Memphis will be in the top 10 and FAU will be out.
You need to go back and listen to that again.
I absolutely said that.
Go back and listen to it again, because I said FAU will be the new Houston. They will be the new highest ranked team in the American to start the year. They're going to be the highest ranked team, and they were. The problem is they just started losing these shitty ass quad 4 games and started dropping left and right.
They've dropped like 8 quad 4 games. Not really, but
yeah, you beat Look, you beat Bryant. I don't even know who the other one was. Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
And then you have that Arizona win under your belt. I mean, they're probably still in the top 10, honestly, at this point. But don't care about them. Whatever. USF first up. That one's at home. What's that guy's name? Youngblood, probably their best player. They don't really have a lot going on. Let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
It's USF basketball. They haven't been good. It's been a while, I think, since they've even been respectable, honestly. The Tigers should probably win that one. I mean, we're talking it should at least be a 10-point win, right? I don't know if we're going to see it that way. I'm hoping what we see is the Tigers build off of this game at Wichita State, which I think was your general first question. Because Penny's made comments, right? Like, we play this fun out of conference schedule, and then we come in and play this conference schedule, and it's just crap, right? It's hard for the players to get up for it. But the one game they do get up for,
I don't like hearing that.
Right?
What did you think about that statement, by the way?
What do you mean? Oh, that it's hard for them to get up for that kind of game?
Wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah, I don't love it, to be frank. Because it's kind of how I started this whole thing off. Like you have to get those wins to get where you want to go. So like you need those wins. So if you can't get up for this, it tells me you don't like winning.
Well, and again, if your motivation is the team in front of you, then yeah, I could see you going, okay, yeah, USF. But I mean, we've heard it enough from all the players, even Javon Quinterly, when he did his one-on-one interview with Christian at the beginning of the year, he said, man, I'm trying to do big things. Like, I'm trying to get out of the Sweet 16. I want to go further than that. I'm tired of losing at the Sweet 16.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it feels like his motivation is more so about the ultimate end goal and not playing against the UCF or USF. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
So it's like, get these guys up, man. Like, remind them what their goals are. And if they lose these games, they're not going to reach those goals.
Yeah, it's I heard that. And I'm curious if that's some type of out of the box thinking from Penny. It's basically like, he may say something like that and it kind of gets under the player's skin, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what purpose it serves to even say something like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's legitimately how he feels, right? I mean, you've seen these guys play awesome versus Texas A&M, versus Clemson, versus Virginia, who Virginia seems to be awful. Like, everyone sucks now, apparently. So maybe we didn't play that awesome. But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting thing. And I definitely think that you have to take out USF and obviously Tulane. I've talked about them. You've talked about them. They're very well coached. They have two very good players, right? Cross and Jalen Forbes still there.
Yeah,
both very good, and that's definitely a team that is truly capable of beating Memphis. And I think that one's away, right? Yeah.
That one, you're at Tulane on the 21st.
Yeah. That's a tough game.
It's going to be a tough game,
coach. Man. Yeah, it's good coach, two very talented players. You're kind of struggling defensively right now. I think it's a fair assessment to make, not just over the Wichita game, but, as we've talked the past 10 games, honestly, it feels like we've been leaving the 3-point line open, the overhelping, just little easy baskets here and there that have kind of cost the Tigers. So, yeah, it's definitely one they can drop, and it's not a good one to drop, too. I think Tulane is 100 in KenPom. I guess that's Q3. Or is that Q3?
I don't know the
Qs. I think that's a quad 3. Yeah.
I don't know the quads. Yeah.
So
But you
I don't
look
know.
at it. You look at it, man. Their guy over there at Tulane is Kevin Cross. He's the
Yeah,
guy,
he's
right?
good.
Like
Very, very
good
good.
player, man. And gave DeAndre some trouble when DeAndre was here. So it's going to be interesting to see how, Nick Jourdain and Nick's seen him quite a few times, so he's not going to be too surprised by what he sees out there. But like
Sure.
even a guy like Naquan Tomlin, it's going to be interesting to see how they guard him because he's more of a perimeter, like set picks on the top of the key, float around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets a mismatch, he'll go into the paint. But the guy, who the guy is that has given the Tigers so much trouble over the last couple of years is Sion James. And that's going to be an interesting matchup because he's just a veteran, tough physical guard or small forward that
Wing,
could
whatever.
create some trouble for them in the paint. Could create some trouble.
Well, I think last year with James, I think he was the one crushing threes left and right, wasn't he? And it was like something he's not really necessarily it's not really his thing, I don't believe.
Yeah, no, but they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in double digits. One guy is right at the edge. They almost have 6 people and that are scoring double digits. I mean, they're not bad, man. They're averaging. Wait, is this true? Are they averaging 87.2 points a game?
Well, yeah. I mean, Cross alone is like 17, 8, and 5 or something like that. Absurd. I mean, just
The question I have is, did that 40-point blowout at last year's AAC tournament, did that shift some of the mood, not the mood, but the momentum back over to the Tigers and say, okay, kind of reasserting their dominance over the Tulane Green Wave because they've given them trouble over the years, man.
Sure. That's a good question, honestly. I think that it probably obviously affected Tulane more than it did Memphis, right? Because those guys are back, like Forbes, Cross,
Right.
James. That's 3 guys. Memphis isn't returning 3 guys from last year's roster. I think there's 2, right? Jourdain, Malcolm.
That's
that
it.
it? I mean, they don't know these guys. I mean, obviously, we've talked about, Jourdain knows who they are just from his time at Temple and stuff like that. But it's a different type of thing, right? It's not that head-to-head rivalry that we've seemingly put ourselves in with Tulane for some odd reason that
right.
We can't seem to just dog them or just win, honestly, right? Like it just seems like we've been going back and forth with them for no damn reason. So it's a good one. Tulane obviously has something to prove, right? They think that obviously, I mean, how helpful is that for them? A win over Memphis truly boosts them. I mean, I don't know where they're sitting in the American right now in terms of standings, but I couldn't imagine they're not top 4, maybe. I don't know. I guess we played so little games, so it may not even pan out yet. But
You saying top 4 in the conference?
Yeah, but I guess we haven't played. We've only played 4 conference games, so like
they're 1,
with
2, 3,
everybody's
4,
2 and
5,
2,
6.
3 and 1.
They're 8.
So.
They're 2 and 2. They're
Okay.
there's only two 2 and 2 teams in the conference, and that's them in East Carolina.
Okay.
North Texas is 3-0. They're a half game back
Yeah.
from Memphis. Obviously, Memphis is 4-0.
FAU, SMU. Yeah, I
FAU
kind of forgot
is
about SMU as being better than what we imagined they would be.
God, they're a tough defensive team, man.
Yeah.
But man, if that game against Wichita State can become kind of a motivation or even just a spark to get these Tigers to start playing up to where we know they can offensively,
Sure.
and they can pick it up just a little bit defensively, fix some of those mistakes, those schemes that I think are maybe a little bit out of whack right now.
Mm-hmm.
God bless, man. We're looking at all the way to February 25th before they play FAU, and they could go. I mean, they could go on a long run here.
Yeah, I mean, you're already 10 straight, and you're talking going. What? How many weeks is that? 10 more games?
Let me look at the schedule real quick. It would
It's like
be
10 more games. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more games. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, think about that. Sitting at 25-2.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'd take that. When was the last time we gone 25-2? Like the
Listen,
first Passmore year?
I don't even know. Man, was it that long? Was that did he go 25?
I don't know if he went 25-2. I'm shooting from the shit, honestly. I couldn't honestly tell you. I'd have to look that back up. But Trey could probably tell you. He has this uncanny ability to be able to recollect information from the back of his mind.
I do not have that ability.
We were down 7 points with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left. ECU had the ball on the baseline. They pass in. You're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why you like the Rain Man, but like for basketball, it's so strange.
Well, look, hey, we've gone 50 minutes in this first segment, so I want to end it with this one topic, and we can spend a short amount of time on it. Rumors are circulating that Jourdain Brown made an appearance on Thursday at the practice facility, wanting to come back to the Tigers. He's been gone for the last 10 weeks. Was sick for about 9 of them, according to the Memphis Tigers staff. So thankfully he's healed up and made an appearance. And apparently, according to Jason Munz reported this, and it's a great article if you haven't read it, but talked about the fact that Penny brought Jourdain into a meeting with the players and said, it's up to you guys if you want him to come back or not. And basically from what has been reported, players balked initially. They didn't like it. They don't like it. What are your thoughts on it, man? Like, tell me your thoughts on the Jourdain Brown stuff.
Dude, get out of my face, dude. You left us. Like everyone, they know, right? The players know this dude wasn't actually sick. Like, what are we talking about here? It wasn't working. It just wasn't working, and he left, right? And maybe it's a situation where maybe on the side he was being told one thing, right? And maybe that kind of got into his head, and he explained to them, like, maybe this guy was telling me something. I can go overseas, I can get paid, whatever the situation may be, right? Like, I could see him talking his way out of it, however it is. But if I'm a player on that team, kick rocks, my guy. You left us. We've been fine without you. We got this new guy in, way more athletic. He can move laterally. He's not gassed 10 seconds in. Like, what do we need you for?
I'm going to give you
you were awful when you were here.
I'm going to give you a kind of a story that I've told a few times, I think, but I remember the 21 season, Imani, Jalen, Josh Minot, John Camden, Sam Ayamide Anu, right? Major 5 of that recruiting class. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I had the opportunity with Christian to go to Philly and shoot Sam Ayamide Anu's commitment video for him committing to Memphis. So we got to spend a lot of time with Sam and his surrogate family, which was the Camden family, John Camden's family, right? Like, he stayed with them, he lived with them, and got pretty close to Tex and Susan Camden, John's parents. Kept in contact.
Tex?
Kept in contact. Yeah, dude's a beast, man. He's a baller. But kept in contact with them throughout the time before the Tigers, before they got there to the program and all that kind of stuff. I remember, were you there at the Memphis Madness event that year? Did you go to that?
I think so.
The last big one they had at the FedEx Forum.
Yeah, it was the one before they went to the pizza party in the yard
pizza party and the cookout or whatever. In the yard. I was out there at the front of the FedEx Forum covering that event, and it was before it even started, before the players even got there. And I hear "G'day" yelling my name across the way, and I look up, and it's Tex and Susan. They were there from Memphis Madness. So, like, Memphis Madness is like right when the season practices really start. Like, we're not talking about games. We're not talking about, it's not even time for that. And so Susan comes walking up to me, and she's talking to me about the fact that John and Sam are both very upset that they're not going to play. This is at Memphis Madness. And she's like, both of them were like, I'm having to talk John and Sam out of transferring. They want to transfer. And I'm like, it's Memphis Madness. Like, and I told Susan that night, I said, the practices haven't even started, and everything that I've heard about what he's been doing at the practice facility, he's doing really well. So why would he want to run away from the competition and try to and transfer somewhere else before the game's even started? That's what I feel like with this whole situation with Jourdain. It was 6 games into the season. They had, lost a tough game to Villanova. He comes in and he plays against Ole Miss and fouls within like literally 2 fouls in like 30 seconds of game time. Has to sit the rest of the time. And then just dips, right?
Yeah, man.
Like, why are you running from competition? And I guess that would be my question if I was a player in that locker room, is why were you running from the competition? Like, you came in, you've had 4 months here to get in shape, and you clearly aren't. Are you unhealthy? Are you not healthy? Like, what is going on? Because you're not the player that you were last year. You're clearly not the player you were the year before that when you were at Arizona, I guess. So, like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
And I think it says a lot about a person when they're just ready to leave competition, just dip out and not even get involved, not even try to fight, not even try to make it work. And that would be my question as a player for the University of Memphis is, why should we take you back? You ran from us. When things got tough for you, you ran.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. I think it plays a role in it. His decision on how he is wanting, like, what role is he wanting, right? Am I frozen? You're good. I can't hear you. I see you moving, but we're good.
I muted my mic. I'm sorry. I was coughing.
No, you're good. Like, what kind of role is he wanting, right? Is he trying to pick up 10, 15 minutes a game, or is he just like, let me be a part of it and I'll play when I can? Like, play me when you think it's okay to play me. Play me like a freshman, honestly. I think that plays a role into it as well. But
I just don't
personally, I ain't coming back on my team.
Well, and here's my thing about it too, is you think about it in the sense of, look at the bigs that have played so well for the Tigers this year so far. Malcolm, who was clearly much more athletic than Jourdain was. Naquan Tomlin, who they've added since, is a athletic freak. Jourdain is an athletic freak. I get the idea. What we think we've seen in terms of video on Jourdain Brown and what he could be, but he's not that guy. And you put him in the game and he's largely ineffective unless he's back to the basket with the ball in his hands, slowing the game down. And he's been massively ineffective even in that regard. And so it's like, what does his addition bring to this Tigers team that is so far greater than the potential chemistry issues that he could cause? And I'm not talking chemistry issues within the locker room, because honestly, I think these players are gonna they'll get over that fast. Like that, that'll be fine. But in terms of on the court, the chemistry issues, because it was clear he wanted the ball more, and that's the only way he could be effective is if he had the ball in his hands. And I'm sorry, he was out of shape and couldn't play after he had spent 4 months working out with the Tiger program and with Darby Rich. What do you think he's been doing for the last 10 games? He ain't been practicing. You think he's been practicing? You think he's been working out? You think he's been getting in shape? Come on.
Yeah, it just, I mean, first of all, it was never a good pairing from the jump, right? Like you sit there and you said it yourself. Like he is most efficient with his back to the basket, right? Let him pump fake, spin, whatever he's going to do, make his little move on the basket. That's not going to work with this Tiger team. They move too quickly for it all, right? So it's not a good pairing. And I understand that he wasn't Penny's first option, second option, probably third or fourth, fifth option at big. He kind of just took the best available guy out there. And
he wanted Khalil Ware. That's who he wanted.
Oh yeah, I mean that would have been a perfect matchup.
Perfect matchup for it. Would have been a Naquan Tomlin 2.0, but better probably.
You know, this is probably a one of those hot takes that Trey was talking about. Give me Musa on this team, and I'd be very intrigued. I mean, you get that rim protector. He still can't catch the ball, and he still
can't do it. He can't do anything.
He can't do anything. But it kind of seems like you don't really need him to do anything other than just block shots. Because I mean, he seems pretty good at that.
He ain't even
good enough to be Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
He's not even playing for Ole Miss, I don't think. Is he?
Yeah, they've kind of got a weird situation going on over there. I mean, whatever. But so no, yeah, I'm with you, dude. Absolutely not. No Jordan Brown, kick rocks. But we'll see, right? Maybe some of these players have some sympathy. They understand that there's a little bit more to play with some of this stuff, and maybe they got someone in his ear kind of talking him up and stuff like that.
But hey,
so we'll see.
Think about it. Think about this though. They do bring Jordan back and put him in a bench role and say, you'll play when you play, and we'll do what we can with you, right? Imagine coming into the latter part of this season with a front court of Malcolm, Nick Jourdain, Naquan Tomlin, and Jordan Brown. Set up for success, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the perk of it, right? Like, I mean, knock on wood. What if Malcolm rolls his ankle? Now you're down to Naquan and well, I guess you could put in Jourdain. I know, but you could. I guess I was gonna say you could put
Jaquan.
You really need to do something like that, but
yeah, you could absolutely.
You know, the team goes big on you. Freaking, who was it that had the football player? We just played the football player a couple games ago. They put that 300-pound monster out there. Jaquan ain't gonna be able to hang with that dude down low. Most people couldn't. So,
yeah,
I don't know. If he comes back, I'm gonna give him the ugliest damn number. Make him wear number 53. Give him just an ugly number. You ain't playing any good minutes. You're gonna play like a freshman. You're gonna wear the ugliest number.
Right.
Sorry to anyone whose favorite number is 53 out there. It's an ugly basketball number. It just is.
Ugly basketball number. All right, man. Well, let's take a break real quick.
Yeah, of course.
And then we'll get back to it. Do a quick little second segment. Some Memphis football stuff that we haven't discussed since last week. Some coaching changes, some coaching hires, and some new portal guys and some new commits. And then we'll do your beer review and get out of here. All right, let's take a break.
One, I think most people would say you don't want to mess up a good thing, bring in drama again, because he was drama and there was some issues there. And if you have Naquan Tomlin at the moment, I think he'll start eventually, and Jordan Brown off the bench as your front court, it alleviates any bit of front court concern or depth that you thought you had. So I am all for Jordan Brown rejoining this team so long as it doesn't disrupt team chemistry.
On paper, does it make you a better team to have Jordan Brown, especially with Naquan Tomlin now? Absolutely. It's not worth, and he showed that it's not worth, having him come in and mess up chemistry and mess up the locker room. If at the beginning of the year he was incredible and then this happened, maybe you would be more lenient towards saying, okay, this makes sense and I'm okay with this because we know what he can do. In a Memphis uniform and with this team, he did nothing. He didn't make this team better.
Yeah, and there is something too. Like the last game he played was against Ole Miss, and they've gone 10 straight wins since that.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
People want to project their beliefs and their perceptions and mold somebody to look like they want them to look and act like they want them to act, man. Thing about it, if somebody gonna dislike you, they're gonna dislike you regardless of what you do, dog. You can sit here and be the nicest dude, singing carols and everything. They still gonna talk about you. So with Ja, I think it's his swagger. I think it's his attitude. I think it's his confidence. It's almost like they trying to break him. They like, man, he's too hip hop. What's too hip hop? That's what they saying without saying it. Like same thing they used to say about AI. Because it's the influence and the power he has. You gotta look at Ja, man. He's the most entertaining NBA player in the NBA. Yeah. I ain't saying he's the best. He's the most entertaining. Yep. So when you have that power and that influence, you want to try to control it. If you can't control it, now you're going to try to tear him down and try to break him a little bit. So it seems like, so that's why they keep saying, have you changed anybody in your circle? And his team was like, no, because they trying to get in. Right. They trying to get in. We want to be in your circle. We want to get in so we can mold you to how we want you to act and how we want you to move.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe.
Hey, welcome back to the second segment of Tigers Untapped. Doing a little bit different, obviously. Trey, you saw him in the first segment. He is out this week after having done some yeoman's work and give birth to a child this week, right? Like, we know Natalie did a lot of the work, but Trey deserves a lot of the credit, I think, for how all that went down, But so he's at the hospital taking care of his boy and taking care of his wife. He'll be back next week, but TJ, man, let's talk some football, man. There's a lot for us to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, considering we are postseason technically, right? I mean, seems like a lot going on. We did pick up a couple of transfers. We got, I know I'm gonna botch this guy's name.
Yeah.
Taj
Rael. I think that's perfect. Does he not kind of sound like Superman's dad?
Well,
a little
Superman
bit
himself, if we're gonna be honest, but.
Oh, okay. I'm not a superhero person, so.
Well, I'm not going to get into it, but that was his name. Never mind. We're good. So Taj Rael.
Rael was his last name, right?
No, it's off a little bit, but you're good. We're good there.
You don't want. Let's not get into
it. Taj Rael is a DB from Old Dominion. And I think he's probably going to be safety. I think he's like 6'2", 199, probably more of a safety than a corner. But you never know, right? You bring these guys in, you kind of bounce them around, see what they do. We could see the guy honestly move over and play that star position if they run back with the 4-2-5. Like he could be just purely a nickel. Who knows? Who knows? Also, Jacoby Banks is a receiver who came in from Houston. Hasn't really done anything yet, but I think a lot of people had some high hope for him, honestly. We'll see, right? He's a young receiver. You're bringing back your two best receivers. You are losing three, honestly. I would argue Kobe, probably your third best receiver on the team. Skate's not coming back. He's out of eligibility. It's going to be hard to probably beat out those three for playing time, but you've got some guys there that have definitely shown that they can play. And I'm not marking DeAndre Henry out, 4-star out of Texas. I'm not marking that guy out at all. He looks damn good with the
From what I've seen from a lot of people, they think he's going to be almost an instant starter. Like he's going to come in as a starter.
I mean, he's just a dude. I mean, he's bigger, right? And anytime he touches the ball, it's like, well, this could be, it could be a solid catch for 7 yards, or it could be a 60-yard run. Like you really have no clue. Like he has home run potential. which is great, right? They need someone to kind of follow in the footsteps because you just don't know how much longer you're going to have some of these guys around. So
I did not know, where did the Dallas pipeline come from? Is that a Larry Smith thing or is that a Ryan Silverfield thing?
no, I mean they like Texas. They spend a lot of time recruiting in Texas. I think some of that comes in with another name I'm going to butcher, Luke Wallerius. Probably how
Oh,
you
well,
pronounce it.
yeah.
The former guy from UNT. He was our director of recruiting. He actually just left to take a job. I don't know if my lights just went out. He just took a job at Northwestern. He's going to do some recruiting out in Northwestern. He's got family out that way. I talked to him. So it's just a job for him to be able to get back with his family and stuff like that. So
Of course.
yeah. So I think he had some connections there as well. So it makes sense.
Tigers also picked up a guy named Jalil Cummings, who is a wide receiver as well. He's a part of is it the Untamed 24? What is it?
Yeah.
Untamed 24 class.
Yeah.
Everybody seems pretty high on him. But then the guy that me and you have been talking about that we're excited to see is Brett Carhu. And you know why we're excited to see Brett Carhu? Because he played in my division, baby.
I knew you're gonna go there.
He played at my old school, Wichita Baptist University, played against him last year. Did they win that game? I don't think they won that game. His team. He played for Oklahoma Baptist, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. But tell me a little bit about him. I don't think a lot of people are very aware of who Brett Carhu is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to me, he's kind of a free swing, right? I mean, 6'2", 260, kind of plays that Jalen Allen style, outside linebacker, DN, just purely a rush guy, right? I mean, he's got the size. He was actually I think he and another guy on his team were tied for the first All-Americans in D2 to play for Oklahoma Baptist. So that's pretty cool. He did rack up 11 and a half sacks last year, which is a lot. That would probably equate for a little less than half of all of Memphis' sacks last year. So, I mean, honestly, look, it's a free swing. You know, we were talking about it before. He's a D2 guy. It's kind of like Penny bringing in, I almost said Pierre Niles. I was going to say Jonathan Pierre Niles. It just kind of clicked in my head. Bringing in Jonathan Pierre, right? Awesome at the D2 level. Obviously, the game's a little bit faster. Everyone's a little bit stronger. It's just a different step up, right? So we'll see how he works out. Obviously, being a D2 All-American, like I think if you go back and look at D2 All-Americans, you'll probably find dudes that are in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's no telling, right? I mean, so I'm not going to write the guy off. I think he could be something. He's got the size, but he was just named D2 first team All-American. Pretty cool.
Let's go, man. Well, obviously, some of the other big news about the Tiger football program is they got 2 coaching hires done this week. 2 former Memphis players, Lou Esposito and Reggie Howard. Before we get into those 2 guys and what they're going to do, it's pretty cool that former Tiger players are now coming back and coaching on the staff, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got Brady. Brady's already here. Brady White's already on staff. You got Joey Magnifico. Hashtag we caught it. We'll run it back for the rest of my life. I may get a tattoo that says Joey caught it.
Joey caught it, without a doubt.
Yeah, he definitely caught it. So Joey's back. It's nice, right? It's definitely an indictment on you as a coach that you're able to bring back some of these guys that they have that desire to come back and play for their alma mater and things like that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
right.
I love it.
And you know, a little bit different here, right? We're kind of talking about Brett Carhu and the defense being able to rack up some sacks, and here we are moving on from Kyle Pope, right? And they weren't able to rack up a lot of sacks for that D line.
Let me ask you this: Kyle Pope has kind of created a sort of mythological, like, I think, aura around him while he's been at Memphis. I think most Tiger fans think of the name Kyle Pope and they say, man, that guy is awesome. Potential, move up the ranks in terms of, defensive coordinator type situation. I think early on people thought that. Were you disappointed to see him go, or do you think it was just time?
No, I think it was time, right? And I think he got that myth put around him, like you were saying, because he spent some time at Alabama. I think he was just a grad assistant,
right?
But he's also a pretty damn good recruiter. Like if you
Yes,
talk
he
to any of
was.
the guys that he was their main recruiter, they spoke very highly of him, right? He knew exactly what to say with him.
Joshua White
White.
was the perfect example of that.
Exactly. Pushing, hey, we can develop you as a football player. This is what we can do with you. But also, we have a whole department focused on mental health.
Yeah.
And pushing that with Josh White, because he's openly said that, like, that's something that I think is so interesting. Like, no one else brought to me about the importance of my mental health. You guys have a whole staff for mental health. That's awesome. That's great. And so that's good on Kyle Pope to be able to know what he's saying to these guys. But, like, as the Memphis program's slogan was show, it either is or was show me. Remember that everyone used to have those show me shirts? My guy, you cannot have the slogan be show me and then your defensive line just play that poorly year after year after year. Like, show me what? Like, you show me something. Like, give me something. We just haven't seen it.
Yep.
And I think he's already landed at Georgia Tech or something like that now. I don't know what his role is, but
I think he's an the edge coach.
The edge coach. Okay, that's weird. I mean, he was a D-line guy. I guess he was linebackers at Liberty, I think is where he came from before Memphis. So I guess I see the tie-in there. But bringing in Joe Esposito, as you like to call him, Lou Esposito coming over from Western Michigan. He's going to be the co-defensive coordinator. I think that's interesting. That's kind of his role there.
Yeah.
He's solely going to focus on the D-line from a position standpoint. So, I mean, fingers crossed we can get some damn pressure on the quarterback. I would be curious to see what Western Michigan ran from a scheme standpoint and just kind of look at how that compares to what they ran at Martin.
With
going blank now.
With Jourdain Hankins.
Yeah, Hankins. Thank you. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what they ran there. I mean, are they going to switch to a 3-4? Because linebacker's kind of a strength now based off how this transfer portal and everything worked out for him. So
it'll be very interesting. Yep.
Yeah, and then you mentioned it, Reggie Howard. I think that's incredible as well, not only from the standpoint of bringing a Memphian back home, but also this is a guy who was just on an NFL staff a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until the Commanders started clearing house that, this dude he was good enough to be an NFL coach. And now you're able to put him on your roster, bring him home, and he's likely going to be coaching the cornerbacks directly. I mean, considering that has been the weakest spot on that defense, arguably, I'm not sure you could find another guy on command to hold that job. So kudos to Ryan and the staff for pulling that in.
It definitely feels like bringing in more guys who can focus more intently on very specific parts of the defense, right? Like Coach Clark's moving over to coach just the safeties. He was I think he was like the DB's coach, so he coached them all, right? And now Reggie Howard's going to be coaching the cornerbacks. Clark's going to be coaching the safeties, and Lou Esposito is going to be coaching the D line, and it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be. I think there's a lot of momentum around the Tigers right now. Tiger football program coming into this offseason. So it'll be interesting to see how all that flushes itself out.
Yeah, they needed that refresh and that change on the defensive side, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's nothing against those guys over there. Nothing against them particularly. It just wasn't working, right? Be it the relationship with Barnes, be it Kyle Pope, Howard Clark, whoever you want to talk to. I don't care. That's not what I'm saying here. It was more so, we're on year 2 for one of you and year 3 on some other guys, year 4 on some other guys, actually. And you could just see it wasn't working, right? So it's time for a change. There were a couple of games last year where it was solely on Memphis's defense that they let some slip. And, you you catch a couple of balls that were thrown directly into your hands, and maybe you stop SMU on that final drive.
Yeah.
Look like you have a somewhat competent defense, and you win that game. And like, what are we talking about now? Like
with the Tulane game too. I mean, Cam Smith.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, they were there, right? They could have been in the American title in theory, right? Neither one of the Tulane or SMU games were to a point of no return. So you get the defense playing a little bit better. It's obviously a different conversation we could have. And perhaps now some of these staff changes and a lot of the portal things that we've talked about, maybe we can get there. I think that's kind of what they're aiming on based off how aggressively they've hit the portal.
Because I'm telling you, man, this offense looks like it's going to be dangerous next year.
Yeah.
Offense looks like it's going to be tough. So,
and you know what? We didn't talk about
the big offensive lineman.
Yeah, you read my mind, man. They did bring in an offensive lineman.
The kid from South Carolina.
South Carolina, yes. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. Jalen is what I keep saying. I'm not sure if that's even true off the top of my dome. But they brought in another offensive lineman, and
he's a monster.
Yeah, here we go. Jalen Nichols. There it is. Another guy. Like, I mean, they just keep pulling in these offensive linemen that are complete plug and play. And now it's gotten to a point where I'm kind of like, damn, I don't know if anyone from last year is going to start again. Like, I don't know if Jonah Gamble is going to start. I don't know. I don't know if Xavier Hill is going to start. Like, I have no clue who's going to start on this offensive line because they brought in enough talent where they can just completely start over if they wanted to. I don't think they will, but they definitely got enough there.
Man. Right? Yeah, if the defense can get it together and get solidified in what they're doing, and all signs are pointing towards the fact that Jordan Hankins knows what he's doing, like he's got a good plan of action. But damn, dude, that offense looks like it's going to be tough next year.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's still time for things that go wild, but
let's hope that it doesn't.
Let's hope that it doesn't, right? We got at least until April to convince everybody to stay and to build some good relationship with the folks on the D line and the secondary, the ones that you do want to keep, things like that. So
I will say this, man, and I know we're smack dab in the middle of basketball season, and I love basketball season, but I already miss football. I know we got some time, but I'm so ready for it to start back.
It's because you just landed on such a positive high note. You got some rumors floating around, and honestly, I normally leave this up to Trey. What's today? The 15th. You could hear some good news this week. It could be next week, but I think I'd put some weight on it being this week.
I've heard it from multiple sources. Some big news is dropping for football programs, so it's going to be big. Hey man, how's the beer?
It's good. We could jump into that. So again, this is called Orange Sweet Blood Orange Cream Ale. I'm trying to read. Is this in reverse for you? I hit the reverse my camera button.
No, it's good.
It's good. Okay. I didn't know if it came through. I think I used to do that to Trey, and I think he started trolling me and telling me it wasn't in reverse when it really was.
It might. Well, it's not in reverse on my screen. It could be in the final video that pops out.
All right, we'll see. Whatever. Leave it in the comments. Is this in reverse? Can you read this, or are you kind of looking at it backwards? The can's pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. You can see the can. Nothing cool going on here, right? It's just kind of this palish, and it's not even orange. It's called blood orange, and the can wrapper itself is more like more salmon. I don't think salmon's orange. It's pink, right?
Right.
It looks more salmon to me. Kind of boring. I will say it's probably like a whatever. They got the blood orange. It's dripping blood on the can. You kind of see that there, right? Blood orange.
Right.
Dripping the blood down, whatever. Maybe I'll give you a bonus point for that. Maybe a 6 out of 10. Not that cool of a can. Not that bad, but not that cool at the same time. The beer's okay. I don't know what a blood orange tastes like off the top of my head. You could just say this is an orange beer or anything. You could tell me it tastes like anything. And I would just be like, oh, yeah, because there wasn't a lot of flavor. You could tell there was something in there, but I wasn't sure what it was. So maybe this is a TJ problem for not knowing what blood orange tastes like off the top of the dome. But It was okay. I could probably drink multiple of them. And my scale typically is if I could drink multiple of them, it's somewhere over the 7s. Right?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's just kind of where I do it. I could drink 2 of these. I just don't know what the hell I'm drinking. So it's hard for me to go over maybe like a 7-1. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Trey, I'm going to find this for you. Again, this is over a year old. I don't know if I can find another.
Does the fact that it's a year old matter?
I don't think so.
Like beer doesn't go bad, does it?
Oh, I mean, yeah. If it's changing temperatures and stuff a lot, that's more happened with bottles, though.
So it's been in the refrigerator the entire time?
Yeah. Ever since I got out there in the fridge, and it's just been sitting in the beer fridge. The problem is I've only had one, so we've never been able to do it, and I haven't been able to find a second one. So Trey had a baby, and this is a perfect opportunity.
Let's go. Get a year-old beer out of the way while Trey's out.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I can tell you that. It was okay. Well, I think that's 7-1. That's in the okay, pushing good.
Pushing good. I like it, man. I wish I could have drank with you. I just I couldn't get out. So
yeah, it's snowstorm. What are we gonna do?
What are you gonna do about it?
All right, Kenny. Anything from you, sir?
Man, I'm good, brother. It was a pleasure hanging out with you. I know I'm not Trey, but it was fun.
You're prettier than Trey, for sure.
I don't know about all that. Trey's pretty dang sexy.
He does. He's got a nice dad bod going.
He does have a nice dad bod.
All right, Kenny. It's late, man.
You got to do
the cold beer. Stay for the hot. Trey already said it technically. Come for the beer. Stay for the cold takes.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.